Adam Elnekaveh is the author of the book Rebuilding Adam, the Tragedy, and he's on the line with us here just now. How are you today?
Great, I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Now, can you give us a brief overview of the book Rebuilding Adam, the Tragedy?
Okay, well, I used to be a big time bodybuilder, a big popular bodybuilder that was being a fitness athlete, that was being interviewed all over America. And then I went to Thailand with my best friend in high school, after high school, to celebrate our graduation from entering college. Then
Hmm.
we wanted to take a couple of motorcycles around the island of Thailand to kind of see it all and explore. And we saw a bunch of locals not wearing helmets in Thailand because the locals felt so confident with being in on their motorcycles in Thailand. So we decided to mimic them to do the same thing.
Yeah.
One thing led to another. We were having motorcycle issues, and then basically we don't know if I fell, if I got hit, or something occurred, but I fell to the ground. My skull smashed against the floor. Oil shot up into my brain, poisoning a part of it, and I fell into a coma for 10 days.
Wow. And your memoir discusses personal interactions during recovery. So, how did support networks and relationships help you heal?
Absolutely. My family all flew into Thailand. They all hovered over my bed, praying that I would wake up from my coma. The
Yeah.
doctors and surgeons said that I wouldn't wake up, and if I did wake up, I'd be either paralyzed or remain in a vegetative state the rest of my life. So they said such horrible, crude things about my recovery and survival. And then we flew back to Los Angeles, to California, where I'm originally from. And then I was able to recover, to get up from a wheelchair eventually and start
Mm.
walking from a cane. And yeah, slowly but surely started to recover.
Yeah. And of course, recently it was Brain Injury Awareness Month, last month, and that highlights the issues that brain injury survivors confront. So, how does your book, Rebuilding Adam, the Tragedy, relate to brain injury awareness and advocacy?
We want to show people that, when your parents tell you to wear helmets when you grow up in school, on a skateboard, when you're rollerblading, whenever you're doing anything at all, we really want to send a message to say to people and explain the necessities and the absolute value that protecting your brain is for a person,
Mm.
because your brain controls everything. It controls to the point where your shoulders, your rotator cuffs are controlled by your brain to always remain intact in its socket. Like when I had my brain injury, my brain was no longer communicating with my body, letting it know that my shoulders are to remain intact,
Mm.
and my left shoulder was falling out of my shoulder socket.
Wow.
Yeah, it was my shoulder was dislocated multiple upon multiple times because my brain was just not telling my body that it had to remain intact.
Yeah. And your journey as an influencer and motivating figure has inspired a lot of people. So, how will you use your platform to empower and support various communities experiencing challenges?
I want to show people that the situation that I personally was in when I was had nothing to look forward to, I had no almost hope,
Yeah.
because surgeons and doctors and nurses and rehab specialists across multiple states and countries all said the most negative things about my recovery. And what I want to do is to tell people, no matter what they said about you, no matter what textbook information, what doctors, what communities, what hospitals, what rehab centers said about you, your recovery, your survival, your triumph, your fulfillment in life,
Mm.
is not to be taken with a law. Things can
Yeah.
change if you are optimistic, if you are willing to work hard and with your survival, no matter what state you're in, no matter if it's a broken leg or a broken spine. If you just don't give up, if you always remain willing and open to ideas and always positive, you'll be amazed at what you can accomplish.
Absolutely. And you've seen a transition from being a famous bodybuilder to relearning basic human functions. So, how did you handle that major identity change and what did you learn from it?
The biggest thing that I learned is that you have to be appreciative of the littlest things. You know, when you aren't injured, when you are just a regular average person, no problems, you do so many things that you feel that are just easy, that are just no problem. It's easy to take
Yeah,
a it's easy to take a shirt and hang it on a hanger and put it in your closet. It's easy to brush your teeth. It's easy to drive a car with two arms. It's easy to cook breakfast. It's you when you lose the ability to use an arm or a leg or
yeah,
your brain functional, like your cognitive thoughts, it really opens your mind to how precious life is. And you know, you hear, you know, pastors and people in churches and synagogues and people that tell you how precious life is and how your mother would tell you life is so precious, but you'd never understand that concept unless you've had something detrimental like cancer or something horrible that
yeah,
took your life away. But if you are a normal average person, you don't really think about that. But for someone like me that went through an injury, a tragedy that I inflicted on my own self, I had no drunk driver. Nobody did something to me. It was all my fault. I'm at fault. So I'm learning whole new perceptions of life that you must be appreciative of what you have because things can be lost in seconds. Your whole life can change.
yeah. Now, your story also explores personal growth and transformation beyond brain damage awareness. So, how do you think audiences will respond to your message of perseverance and optimism?
You know, I had to adapt a lot to my brain injury.
Yeah.
I was a young guy. I was 28 years old, living in Los Angeles. I was single. I was dating. I was, you know, I was just a normal guy living in the prime of his life to situate what he wants to become and who he wants to live with and how he wants to build a family. So I had to adapt incredibly. I couldn't go to the movies or to restaurants and, you know, meet my potential future wife. I had
Yeah.
to I had to learn what I can possibly do to meet someone, and I learned tricks and ways to do these things, and they're all listed in my book. How I, for instance, go to the grocery stores and I use a wheelchair as my cane. Because when you're holding a grocery cart, when you're rolling a grocery cart, it's much easier to hide yourself limping from friends, from friendships and people you're meeting for the first time. And then my memory was not good in communicating. So I developed a group chat with all my coworkers so I can use a group chat that I can learn and read more than having to be held on to a spot and be put in a situation where I had to respond right away. So throughout my book, I learned how I adapted to my family, to new relationships, to friends, to rehab, my entire life.
Yeah. And how do you think your approach to nutrition and self care during recovery, um, like, how do you think that's kind of worked? And what advice would you give to others who want to prioritize their health?
You know, the one thing that I learned is that when I was recovering, I used to be the strongest guy. I used to be the biggest animal at the gym. I used to work out multiple hours every day. I used to eat 6 meals every day. I used to be this guy that was unwilling to stop until he conquered what he could. Then, after having an injury, my body cannot perform anywhere near what even a normal person can. So I had to learn that, yes, I have this big mountain to climb, but this mountain doesn't have to be climbed in one day, in one week, in one month, even in one year. It's all slowly but surely. And anyone that's dealing with a hardship in their lives or an injury of any sort has to understand that you're not going to be a rocket ship going to space in 1 second, in
Yeah.
one day. You have to see yourself as a nice rolling vehicle that is just coasting. Little by little, you have to work hard, little by little efforts.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, um, based on your own experiences, what do you think are some of the biggest brain injury myths or obstacles, and how can we address them?
The biggest one is that whatever is said that you can no longer do the rest of your life, that you will never talk, you will never walk, you will never be
Mm,
able to exercise, you will never be able to think. You will need nurses, nursing care for the rest of your life, like that was said about me. You
mm,
know, you can overcome anything. You can overcome a lot of things that you think that once it's said about you, there's no coming back. You can work hard, little by little, gather yourself, learn, observe, take notes, and you can overcome an immense amount of things that you would not think that you'd be capable of doing. And what I want to tell people that no matter what injury you're overcoming, no matter even if it's small, even if you bruised your hip or you bruised a shin or you broke an arm or you dislocated your shoulders or something, anything that happened to even a stomach ache in the time or a sickness or COVID or disease or anything that you're overcoming, just know whatever that is said that is going to happen to you, it is your choice to come out from the other side a different person.
yeah. And beyond your book and speaking engagements, what initiatives or projects are you currently involved with to support individuals affected by brain injuries?
I go to rehab centers. I have many, many family friends that are in communities. I speak to many people. I see people on the street. I park in handicap parking spaces now because it's still difficult for me to walk to an extent. So I do
Yeah.
use the benefit of using a handicap parking space. When I see people there in a cane, in a wheelchair, in whatever hardship they seem to be, I stop whatever I'm doing, whatever rush I'm in, and I go up and I approach them and I go, "Hey, how's it going? How's your recovery going?" Like this actually happened. I promise you, 3 days ago, I was going to my car from the gym. I was walking to my car in the disabled parking lot, and I saw an older, I think, European older woman
Mm,
walking to her car, and she was limping heavily, and she looked in pain. And I asked her, I said, "Hey there, how's your day going? How are you feeling today? It's Friday. How's your day going? Are you excited for the weekend?" And I was being very nice and kind and optimistic. And she said to me, "Oh, I'm just in pain. I cannot walk. It's been like this for years and years." They said that I could never get better than where I am, and I'm always sad. And then I looked at her and I said, "Listen, I understand. I have been through my own troubles, but let me ask you a question. You are alive, right? You are able to go places and do things that you want to do, right? Am I correct?" And she said, "Yeah, you're right. I can still do things that I was told that I cannot do." I said exactly. You can go places that you want to go to. You can do things that you were said that you can't do. Yes, it hurts you. Yes, it's tough. Yes, you're limited. Yes, it may take you longer to do it, but you still can do it, correct? And she said, "You're right. And my son is a boy that I can show that his mother can still do things, even though it was said to me that I was never going to be able to do it." And I said, "Exactly. So you stay optimistic, always remind yourself that you can do things no matter what it is. And you can show your son and your family and your friends that you are still a soldier. You are still living your life."
yeah. Well, how do you encourage listeners to support brain injury awareness, and mental health advocacy and wellness promotion year round?
I would say is just when you see someone that is disabled or hurt or recovering or anything, whether it's at the gym a parking space, a mall, a restaurant, just understand that, it may seem something very simple for you to just walk, buy, shop, do anything, eat, move, drive. It may seem very simple for you, but just know that there are all sorts of people in this world, and many people have many challenges in their lives. So just try your best to maybe be more accepting of those around you, and maybe reach out and give a hand and confide and show them that we're not all alone on this planet, that we are humans, we're all humanity, we all are the same person. So just be kind and ask to see if you can give a helpful hand and say something positive to them, like, I hope you have a good day, because saying something positive to another person only comes back to you with good karma. Because when you are a
Yeah.
good person to other people, good things happen to you. If you are unkind to other people, if you aren't helpful, if you're not giving them smiles, wishing them a good day, being a good person, that can come right back to you as well.
Yeah. Well, are you working on any more books after this one?
I don't want to give anything away, but this is a series of books, and
Yeah.
I am currently, actually tomorrow we're gonna continue book two.
Mm.
Yeah, because each book hits on a different note, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. People don't know how the story transforms, and it's gonna be very, very exciting.
Yeah. Well, in the meantime, where are we able to find this book, Rebuilding Adam, the Tragedy?
You can get it on basically any platform. You can get it on Amazon, Instagram, Ingram Sparks, Barnes and Nobles. You can get them on almost every platform. It's being it's being um presented by many people, marketed by many societies and hospitals and co-influencers and podcasts, and people are very much enjoying this book because it's very honest. It's very raw. It's like a diary of a male,
Mm.
of a younger male that has never been written down and exposed to the world, how he feels, the insecurities, to his first girlfriend, to his first date, to his first time going to the grocery store, the first time being in a rehab center. It's the first time being a worker. It's really hits so many raw notes that is going to be
Yeah.
something very exciting to read. Very exciting.
Absolutely. Well, many thanks for joining us today. It's been great to have you on the show.
I appreciate you having me, and I hope you yourself have a great day. And always remember that don't ever be unappreciative for your life. Be appreciative for what you have, because it could be all gone in a split second.